The Everyday VOpreneur podcast summer series has been all about bringing voice actors onto the show who have pressing business and marketing questions that they want to ask and get answered. And chances are, if they're thinking it, there are other voice actors who are out there thinking it as well. And so everybody wins when we do this. And so that is what is up for today. Paul Vinger, welcome to the show. What is
Thank you.
your pressing business and marketing question that you need to get answered?
My pressing and business marketing question that I need to get answered is about the what I cheekily called the unbearable awkwardness of marketing, which means I'm a in-person guy. I like to connect with people in person and honestly and have one-to-one conversations. And here I am trying to form some semblance of that personal connection with total strangers online while I try to get them interested in buying the thing that I'm selling. And there's a sort of a disconnect there, and I've gotten better at it. My process has mostly been lots and lots of iterations of my website text, the emails that I'm sending out, until I get to feel more comfortable with doing that. And also the whole part of seeing what I connect with them. That for me is still the most awkward part. It feels a little dating appy. So I guess what I'd like to talk about with you is just the sort of the signposts that tell you you're going in the right direction and the potholes to steer away from as we develop in that whole process.
I think there are a couple of things that come to mind right away. First and foremost is you and every other voice actor. Literally probably the most common thing that I hear over and over again is some variation of, it doesn't feel right. I don't want to be awkward. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be the used car salesman kind of guy. I don't want to be annoying, right? All of these different things. So I think everybody says that, hear it over and over again all the time. So I certainly understand that side of things. I think the fact that you are so aware of it is probably the thing that is actually helping you from being guilty of the thing that you think you're probably guilty of, just because of the fact that you're self-aware and you're paying attention to what you're saying and what you're doing. But I think where the disconnect comes is we hear stories every once in a while. You'll see a story in social media of a voice actor who's marketed to a production company or something like that. And that story will be, I reached out and they told me I'm so sick and tired of voice actors reaching out to me, or, you're the 47th voice actor that's reached out to me this week, or, it's some sort of a negative experience.
Right.
And because nobody shares every single positive experience, the only stories that we hear are the negative experiences. It's really easy to then adapt this mentality that, overall, production companies hate it when we reach out to them. Everybody hates marketing, and marketing is bad, and we're just annoying people. And it's because we don't have the full context window of what's going on. For every one rejection, there's 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 marketing emails that got sent that did not result in a negative experience.
Right.
But we don't see those numbers. We don't know about those numbers. And so it's really easy to skew your narrative of what is going on out there. I think the biggest thing for us to remember is we add value to the people that we are reaching out to. So if you think about the marketing that you experience on a day-to-day basis that's really annoying, I get probably 5 to 8 emails a week from people pitching me to be on my podcast. And they explain all the amazing reasons why they should be on my podcast, except they clearly have absolutely no idea what my podcast is about. Because when the guy who has made, $10 million doing real estate flipping and Airbnbs is pitching me because he would be the perfect fit for my audience, it is very obvious that this guy has no clue that I do a voiceover podcast for voice actors about voice acting. And that marketing makes me insane.
Yeah.
Because you are wasting my time completely. That is a very different experience from a voice actor reaching out to a production studio who creates corporate videos and very obviously uses voiceover in those corporate videos,
Right.
right? You're not reaching out to sell, hey, I see you guys do corporate videos. Can I sell you my plunger? No, you're
Right.
giving them something that they can actually use, that they can actually benefit from. And so I think that in and of itself is one of the biggest differences, is just remembering that if you are targeting the right people, you are offering them something that can make their life easier, their project easier, their process easier.
Right.
And there's nothing awkward about that. I don't think there needs to be anything awkward about that. I think when you are confident in what you bring to the table as a voice actor, then really you should be excited to reach out and talk to these people, because I really believe that I can deliver the goods for every single client that I reach out to. Now, whether or not they think that, at the end of the day, I don't know, but I really believe that. And so there's an optimism and a positivity that comes through, I think, in those marketing emails. Not arrogant, not cocky, not like I'm the only guy that could possibly do this for you type thing,
Right.
but just I really believe I can do a great job for you. And so that takes away the awkwardness, I think. So a big part of it is just remembering that you bring something to the table that these people that you're connecting with need and
Right.
use and can benefit from.
And part of that is understanding your own value proposition, as it were. What it is that sort of is unique or special about your voice. That's the part I've become more comfortable with lately.
I think that is, if level one for your marketing is just reaching out to the right people, targeting the right people.
Yeah.
Level two is really giving them the specifics of what you bring to the table. So
Right.
we all have home studios, we all have Source Connect, we're all, well, we're not all full-time, but we all can offer quick turnaround. And,
Right.
there's so many things that all of us bring to the table that are very much the same. But then there are things that we bring to the table. So, for example, I just recorded actually an episode with Ryan Bennis, and he was talking about how one of the directions that comes up for him a lot is authoritative. He really seems to do well when the authoritative read comes up. So my point was, okay, well, when you're reaching out to these people, don't just tell them that you're a full-time professional voice actor with the Source Connect home studio and whatever, like everybody else is telling them.
Right.
Mention the fact that by the way, I really nail the authoritative read, because now they've made an association, right? So the next time that the next time that production company is getting ready to cast a voiceover and they need an authoritative read, like, oh, we'll send that to Ryan. He says he does that, right? And so now you've taken it one step further.
Right.
So when you figure out what you're good at, don't be afraid to highlight those things. And I think one of the ways that you figure that out is just simply by looking at what you're booking. And are you consistently seeing certain specs, certain directions? Are there certain descriptive words that come up all the time, that you're booking? Including that sort of language in your marketing emails or your social media posts, definitely on your website, including them in your online casting profiles, right? All of those things are helping to paint an even clearer picture of what you bring to the table, what specific problems you solve, how you can add value to their specific project. And none of that needs to be awkward.
Right.
I think when we have that mentality of it's awkward, or it feels like, voiceover dating apps and all of that sort of stuff, I think that's where we run the risk of making it so.
So if I would just go back a half step and say, like, yes, understanding your voice, seeing what you book, and sort of level 2.5 for me has been sort of, oh, I'm hearing that. I'm hearing it in the recordings I make, and I feel it. I understand it in my own voice. So I'm not just looking for outside stuff. I'm feeling it from the inside. But then I feel like level 3 is what you just talked about, and it moves on to making, that personal connection, finding something that resonates for you. And that's my struggle point right now, because I look at them and it just kind of feels like, yes, I have the voice that can do X, Y, and Z for you. Oh, and by the way, I noticed that you like long walks on the beach. I like those too. It sort of feels a little bit like that still. And that's the part where if you're just talking to somebody, that stuff comes out, but trying to find that and respond to that in a cold email still feels a little, and that's the part where, where are those guideposts? Where are those pitfalls in that part of it?
I think it is absolutely essential that particularly any introductory marketing email that you send has some level of personalization to it. And personalization, I don't know if that's sometimes I wonder if that's the right word, because I think that we misinterpret that. Like, I don't need you to find out deep, intimate secrets from the history and past of the individual that you're reaching out to, but I want you to write an email that's targeted to that company in some way. And that can just look like you demonstrating a basic understanding of, I get what you do, right? Going back to the real estate guy reaching out to my podcast, if he had taken 5 seconds to research my podcast,
right,
he would have realized there's no point in me sending this email. This is just, I'm wasting my time and his time at this point. 5 seconds to research and see, oh, okay, well, this company specializes in corporate video, and that happens to be a genre of voiceover that I specialize in, right? So you already know that you've got something in common. You already know that there's something that you bring to the table that adds value to them, right? If I'm reaching out to a company that specializes in I don't know, anime, I'm not reaching out to that company because I don't have anything to bring to the table that's going to add value to them. So just taking a few minutes, literally like 2 minutes, not even 60 seconds, to just go through their website and find something that makes a clear connection between them and you, them and voiceover, them and the work they do, the work that you do, just so that you can show that you're putting in the effort.
Yeah.
I think that speaks. I think that's always spoke, but I think it speaks even more now, where everybody's inboxes are getting slammed with generic AI written emails,
right,
where there is no personal connection whatsoever. And it's very clear that somebody's just throwing all the spaghetti at all the walls.
Right.
So I don't see that personalization element as awkward. I see that as effort. I see you. So let's go back to what you said earlier. Yeah. I'm a guy who prefers to work a room in person. You said that you can do really well in person, making those types of connections.
Yeah.
Chances are, if you're meeting somebody at a networking event, you're going to ask them a couple of questions about themselves, or they're going to ask you a question about yourself. So you've got somewhere to start the conversation, right?
Right.
And as they answer those questions and you start to learn a little bit more about them, that's where the conversation starts to evolve. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. It may be one-sided to start because it's email.
Yeah.
But all you're doing is you're looking for something that you can use to launch a conversation, to make them want to read the rest of the email, right? That personalization element is what makes them want to read the rest of the email, which is no different than in person. If you say the right thing at the beginning of the conversation lasts a little bit longer. Right? If you say something really dumb, or you say something that's not interesting, or you say something offensive or whatever, the conversation's going to end. They're going to walk away. You're going to move on to the next person. Say something that's interesting, say something that catches their attention, say something that draws them in. The conversation gets to continue. All I'm trying to do with that personalization element is make them want to keep reading the rest of the email, keep the conversation going a little bit longer. If I can get them to that point, then my hope is when they listen to my demos, because I've targeted somebody that I really believe will benefit from my services, I can see that they use what I do. Then when they listen to my demos, hopefully my demos will do the rest of the selling for me. So I don't have to really sell them anything in the email other than convincing them to listen to my demos.
So it, not to beat the dating app metaphor to death, it is kind of like that in a way, because it's a skill of learning how to find a genuine connection with someone in a way that's comfortable and easy, and just leads naturally to the next thing rather than being manufactured or overwrought. Yeah. Is that a fair assessment?
I mean, I think it's that, but I really just think more than anything, it's about showing that you're putting a little bit of effort in. Nowadays, it's about proving that you're not an AI. right? It really
Yeah.
is. Like that's
Yeah.
really what it's come down to. I'm reading this email. I'm reading every email in my inbox and thinking, oh, AI, AI, AI. Oh, this is a person. Let's keep reading that, right? And sometimes it's just because of the little nuances in the conversation. But I do think that that's a big part of it right now. I can tell, I think we all can tell when we've been slammed with a completely generic, mass marketed email.
Yeah.
And most of us don't respond to those. But the emails that we do respond to, one of the easiest ways right now, you probably get voiceover spam, right? You get, or scams. You get, I get.
The thing I get the most is people trying to sell me industrial lubricants. I have no idea where that came from, but that's what I get.
I haven't got that one. So, but I do get a lot of voiceover scam ones.
Okay.
And there are two things that I look for immediately. One, it came from, what email address did it come from? If it comes from a Gmail address, I'm immediately skeptical. But two, when the email just says, hi, comma, if they had just taken the effort to put in, hi, Mark,
Right.
the email would have totally landed different. That's where we're at now in how we process our inbox.
Yeah.
It's those little things all the way down to, did they even mention my name? If they can't even be bothered to mention my name, if the email says, I really loved your voiceover demos and I think your reels are great and I want you to come and work with me, but you didn't even mention my name, there's a 99.9% chance that this is completely fake, that you have not been to my website, that you don't know who I am, that you didn't listen to my demos. This is the stuff we're competing against.
So it's just a little bit of specificity.
Sometimes it's just
show that you've done the work.
Yeah. Nobody's saying you got to write a book about them, right?
Yeah.
I just want my benchmark. I've said this before. My benchmark is if I can copy, paste, and send an email to more than one person without editing, then I haven't personalized it.
Right.
Because there should be something in each one of those emails, introductory emails we're talking about here. There should be something in each one of those emails that only makes sense to the person and or company who's receiving it.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. And so then I suppose from then it's just a matter of getting comfortable with approaching people in that way, getting efficient with it, and you just get better with it like anything else you practice and do over and over.
There really is a confidence factor that comes into it. And I can tell you, so case in point, I just did, well, not just now, a couple months ago, I had new commercial demo with JMC came out, and I did a new corporate narration demo with the Demo Dream team.
Mm-hmm.
I had not marketed my corporate narration demo in over a year because I hated it. And I didn't want anybody to hear it. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I did not, like, it was bad. And I knew that it was bad. So I avoided marketing it like the plague.
Yeah.
As soon as my new demo dropped my new corporate narration demo dropped with the Demo Dream team, I was like, oh my gosh, this might actually be the best demo that I have ever produced. And I couldn't wait to start marketing it to people.
Yeah.
I was excited to start marketing it to people because I was like, oh my gosh, when they hear this, they're going to be like, that's the guy. We need that guy. We want to have that guy. Now, maybe everybody's not going to have that reaction, but that confidence that I have with that demo is what makes me excited to go out and market that demo. When I really believe deep down, I'm going to bring something to your project. That's what really gets me excited about it. And so I think that there is absolutely an internal narrative arc that plays in to the marketing. When you are confident in your ability, when you know that you can do great work for someone, when you know that they're going to have a great experience working with you, when you feel really good about what the finished project is going to sound like, that is going to make you want to reach out to people.
Yeah.
If you question your ability, if you're not sure that you can deliver, if you don't know if they're going to like you, it's going to make you apprehensive. It's going to hold you back from wanting to do the marketing that has nothing to do with your ability to market or your ability to write an email or what goes in an email or what doesn't go in an email, because you won't even get that far.
Yeah. Yeah. That to me is one of the biggest signposts and pitfalls all wrapped up in one, is your confidence in what you're doing. And sometimes I get dinged for, reworking my website over and over. But, so if I look at my metrics and I see I've got a great click rate and a great open and click rates, and then not a lot of conversion from there, then I naturally want to go look at my website. And then I look at my website and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know myself a lot better than what's there now. And like, I have that same feeling you had with your demo. Like, oh, I can't believe this is the way I presented myself 6 months ago. And you go and look at that. So it's a building process. So feel that confidence in what you're doing.
Yep.
And if you're not there, then work on it.
Yep. And ultimately, the responses tell the story, right? If I'm not getting any responses, somewhere along the way, something's broken. I'm reaching out to the wrong people. I'm not sending a good enough email. My website doesn't back up what I say in the email, whatever. If I'm getting responses and they're positive responses, then the system's working. Keep doing what you're doing. Do more of what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of it starts with our confidence. And all of that comes back to the word that you said at the very beginning, which was the awkwardness. When you have this idea that marketing is awkward, I mean, does that make you excited to want to go do it?
No, of course not.
No.
But this conversation has turned it from feeling awkward, from a sense of overcoming awkwardness, to if it doesn't feel right, then you've got work to do.
Yeah.
So it's
somewhere along the line, there's something in your chain that you're not feeling really good about.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I can't even overstate how important this stuff is. And I see it in so many different things. I see it in my own auditioning. I see it in how I approach auditioning. I went through a stretch for a couple of years, and I've been very open about it, where I just I booked maybe one job a year with my agent. If I'm lucky, I book maybe one job a year with my agent. And when you're auditioning consistently and you're only booking one job a year, it's really easy to feel like, what is the point in this? And so then when another email drops from your agent with another audition, and you're like, oh, okay, whatever, I'll go record it, right? Because it feels like a waste of time.
Yeah.
And you don't even necessarily, it's not that you're intending to come at it from that perspective, but after a while, I think for me anyway, that's just kind of where that's just where I landed. It's like email from my agent wasn't like, yes, this is a great opportunity. It was, oh, let's go waste 10 minutes on another audition that I'm not ultimately going to book, right?
Yeah.
When I started to recognize that narrative for myself and changed that narrative, I have booked more with my agent this year so far than probably in the last 10 years combined.
Wow.
And I'm not doing anything that I wasn't doing before, other than the mentality that I take into the booth when it's time to record.
How would you describe that mentality that you have and that adjustment? How would you describe that?
It's back to, this is a great opportunity. I can nail this. This was meant for me. This spec describes me perfectly. Like, it's changing the narrative from, oh, let me go send this in so that I can waste my time on another one, to, oh yeah, this is me.
Yeah.
It's the same with your marketing. When you're writing your emails, when you're reaching out to people, when you're trying to do LinkedIn, when you're trying to write a post for social media, if you are doing that while you are thinking, this is awkward, this is a waste of time, nobody's going to respond, this doesn't even work, what am I even doing, demos aren't that great, whatever it is, if that's the energy that you're bringing into that venture, whatever aspect of marketing, I'm going to say the odds are pretty high that it's not going to work for you.
Right.
Now, does that mean that you can just, power of positive thinking your way into a 6-figure voiceover career? No, that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
But when you approach your marketing from that perspective of, I've got something to bring to the table, I know that I can help these guys with their project, there's a different level of confidence that comes through in how you connect with people, but there's also, I think you'll do more of it.
Mm-hmm.
When are you more likely to send 25 or 50 emails in a week? When you're feeling really awesome about what you're doing, or when you're feeling like this is a waste of time?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Obviously. Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you flip the script, that's when it starts to make a difference. And so that's where everybody feels awkward about marketing in the beginning, because nobody wants to be that guy, right? But I really believe that that's the wrong narrative, because if you're intentionally reaching out to the right people, then you're not being that guy. Am I reaching out directly to the plumber, the small town local plumber, and being like, dude, I'm the greatest e-learning voiceover ever, and I want to do your training? And the guy's like, e-learning voiceover, what the heck? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're targeting the wrong person. You're completely wasting their time. That's not no wonder that's not going to work. When you reach out to the e-learning company that's mass producing e-learning and has a roster of voice actors, now you're reaching out to the right person. They're going to be excited to hear from you.
Right.
If you're good, they're going to be excited to hear from you. Great. There's another voice we can put on the roster. Awesome. What's awkward about that?
No, it's been great. And I have had some results like that where they've been surprisingly easy. I just reach out to them and they're like, yeah, we'll put you on the roster. I'm like, oh, and yeah. So when you come from that perspective, it really does make a difference. And I never really was worried about getting people angry with me. I think my biggest worry was just spinning my wheels.
Sure.
And, that was probably the biggest concern, of just doing it wrong and not getting anywhere because I was doing it in an ineffective way, wasting my time.
Yep. That's where I started, right? When I first started email marketing, I didn't have a sweet stinking clue what I was doing. Yeah. My thought process was literally, okay, I'm on online casting. There are people who are hiring me on online casting.
Mm-hmm.
It stands to reason that there are a whole separate segment of companies who are not using online casting, but who may still use voice actors. I should probably reach out to them. And that was it. That's where it started. And if I go back to some of those early emails, 2012, 2013, like, good Lord. And trust me, I still got some of them.
Yeah.
They were everything that was wrong about how to write an email. But I refined over time, right? As I continued to learn and I continued to get better, I took classes, I read books, I listened to podcasts. Right. Like I learned, I developed and built that ability to where I got to a point where my email marketing was working. And that's where I started teaching it, because I'm like, look, I can save you a lot of headaches and a lot of hassle and a lot of stress, right? So we all start there. We all start out not knowing what we're doing, and then we evolve over time when we get to a point where we're doing it better. But one of the things that you have going for you now and is you have some wins that you can pay attention to.
Yeah.
That's data. Okay, when I reach out to this type of company, I seem to get a higher response rate. When I reach out to this particular job title, I seem to get a higher response rate.
Mm-hmm.
When I sent this group of emails, it didn't really work that well. But when I sent this group of emails, which was written in a slightly different way, these ones got a higher response rate. What's different between group A of email and group B of email? Yeah. What did I change that made it better, right? And so you pay attention to the data and the clues that you have in front of you. You look at your online casting. If you're doing online casting and you're booking jobs on online casting, who are those clients? What kind of companies are they? What kind of job titles are they? Mm-hmm. What kind of things were they booking me for? Was it in a particular genre? Was it a particular style of read? How can I lean into that to help me to create better messages and be more targeted and demonstrate how I can solve specific problems or address specific pain points, right? All of these things become the clues that then help you to get better.
I'm jazzed. I'm jazzed to go out and write some emails.
There you go. What are you doing here then? What are we even doing here?
I'm already composing them in my head, Mark. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
We got to wrap this up so that you can go and write some marketing emails. That's right. I really do think that's the biggest thing, though. I think everybody feels awkward about it in the beginning. I think, so one other thing I will say, and I've said this before, they're already not hiring me, so I literally have nothing to lose. Like, worst case scenario, is I reach out to a complete stranger offering my voiceover services and they don't respond, or they tell me to take a flying leap. Okay, well, they weren't hiring before. They're still
Right.
not hiring me now. What did I lose? A couple minutes of my time.
Yeah. As long
Right?
as you get those few who say yes, then
Yes.
that's fine.
And
Yeah.
that's it. I think we give way too much power. And I've seen this where you can send 100 emails and you can get 15 responses from those 100 emails. 15 positive responses. Paul, you're great. We love you. We'll put you on our roster. But one person out of that 100 responds and says, Paul, for the love of God, would you piss off and leave me alone? And now you don't want to do marketing anymore. I see that all the time, right? Because that one
Really?
negative response changes our whole narrative. We give it so much more power than what we should.
Yeah.
And we do it at the expense of the 15 people who are like, no, you're great. You're great. So that's the other side of this. You got to just, there's an element of building a, tough exterior or whatever you want to call it, right? Where you just, the ones that don't respond or the ones that respond negatively, you're like, well, you know what? They were already not hiring me. So now I'm one step closer to the one who's going to. And you just let those slide and move on. Now, if you're consistently getting angry responses from people, yeah, there's probably something we need to evaluate there. Right. But that random one-off, I mean, that's just law of averages. If you reach out to enough people, at some point you're going to get a negative response from someone. At some point you're going to tick somebody off. Every week somebody posts in a voiceover group, well, I reached out to a production company and they said I get 50 emails from voice actors a week. So I guess email marketing's dead and I'm not getting email marketing anymore. Right. You see those posts all the time.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet money that the reason why the recipient was getting annoyed is because they're getting 50 crappy, generic, AI written, piss poorly worded emails from voice actors that feels like a waste of time. And that is why they're getting annoyed. Because I'll tell you, the wins that I get very often will say that they will comment on my email.
Oh, will they? Oh.
Right? Thank you for taking the time to acknowledge that, or to they're recognizing that I put in the effort to personalize it in some way. I'll get emails from people who are like, every other email that I get is completely generic, looks like it's written by AI. So thank you for taking the time to actually look up our company or whatever, right? Like they're acknowledging it. And so even when you're seeing those negative responses, sometimes you're not getting the whole story. But I suspect the whole story often has more to do with the quality of the email than the act of emailing itself.
Right. This in a lot of ways, it reminds me of my experience auditioning for theater, in the Wayback Machine in New York. And it's the same mentality. You go in not worried about all the no's you get, but after a certain amount of time, you get enough that you're working consistently, and the number that you get is a tiny percentage of the number you apply for, but that doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's just the ones that say yes, and then you're off to the races.
Yep.
And I guess the disconnect for me was that was in person. You could stand across from a desk and see someone's reaction in real time to what you were doing. And this is, it's almost like going from stage to microphone. It's a whole new skill in a lot of ways, going from live auditioning to writing emails.
Yep.
A lot of the same ideas, but it just feels like you got to learn stuff all over again.
I think a lot of it carries over. The difference is you don't get the instant gratification of seeing somebody's face, right? When you're auditioning in person, you can see, did they smile or did they like, ooh, or right? You don't get that. But you can't sweat it. It's no different than when you submit an audition, Voice123, agent, voices.com, longtime client, whatever. You submit that audition and then that's it. You gave it your best, you put it out there, you let it go. Because if you sit around and obsess over every audition that you submit, you're literally going to make yourself mental, right? Same thing goes for email. You can't obsess over every email and whether or not. I mean, do you need to pay attention to whether or not you're getting responses? Yes, of course. But you can't sweat and stress over every single email. And why didn't every person write me back or whatever? Don't let that derail you either.
It's a little bit harder, I think, to not sweat and not stress, because the metrics are built right into the same exact place that you go to do the auditioning. So you go to Fidalgo to submit an audition. It's just one little click away to see what percentage of your auditions, recent auditions, are getting thumbs ups. Same thing. My email thing is right there. I can send emails through Apollo, and it's just one little click away to look at my metrics. So it's just a little extra mental bar, I think, to not keep sweating over it.
As long as you're getting responses.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, right? If you're not getting any responses, okay, let's evaluate the strategy, right? Let's look at everything that you're doing. But if you're getting responses, then you keep doing what you're doing. Maybe you just have to do it at a higher scale.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
Marc, thank you so much.
I hope this has been helpful.
Oh, yeah. I'm jazzed. Thank you, Marc.